You better have the best Trinities in your deck, ready for the final round. Cause this is Trinity YouTube, and you're here for a deck breakdown.
Hello, this is Vice Southern here with the first of the revamped Trinity Starter Deck series. Today we'll be taking a look at the Hero Starter Deck revised by E. Jeffers, which you can either get in the description below or on our website at trinityYGO.com/hero. Now, let's get into the deck. You'll find, like much in the TCG, Trinity Heroes are quite good in the sense that they can capitalize on offensive pressure and taking advantage of, beatdown and big bunguses. Though due to the limitations imposed by the summon limit, they aren't quite as able to go as plus as they are in the TCG, in addition to putting up well over 10k damage on board. Instead, here they'll be focusing on short trades and closing out the game when there's a vulnerability. First up, we have our main play starter Vision Hero Vion, who is capable of flourishing any hero on summon, in addition to searching out Polymerization, which is used to, get out all of our bunguses in the extra deck. In terms of what's historically been the best target for Vion, you're usually going to want to send Shadow Mist so that you can search any hero of a different attribute directly to your hand, and then you're going to banish Shadow Mist to add Polymerization directly to your hand. Similarly, opening Blazeman in addition to another hero allows you to perform what is essentially the same combo, except you aren't banishing the Shadow Mist. Either of these avenues will enable you to summon out Elemental Hero Sunrise, who will provide you with a Miracle Fusion, which you can use either to banish out the materials that you use to summon him, or you can save it for later stages in the game where you're a little bit more comfortable with finding where the sweet spot is for dealing the lethal blow. Outside of adding Miracle Fusion and buffing up all the monsters you control based on the number of different attributes you control, Sunrise also has a Battle Trick effect, which enables you to destroy any one card on the field provided an attack is declared involving another hero monster on the field. This works both defensively and offensively to either break boards or get rid of a problematic attacker. Next up, we have the utility pick Keeper of Dragon Magic, who on summon, provided you discarded, searches out any Polymerization or normal fusion spell directly from your deck to hand. For these targets, we're on Neos Fusion, Fusion Destiny, Fusion Deployment, Miracle Fusion, and of course, Polymerization. Generally speaking, if this card is found during the early stages of the game, you want to get access to Neos Fusion or Fusion Destiny to establish a bit of a board presence, since Neos Fusion and Fusion Destiny both enable you to send materials directly from your hand or deck to the graveyard for its fusion summon. It's in taking advantage of Elemental Hero Brave Neos' level 4 or lower effect monster and Destiny Hero Dangerous' dark effect monster requirements make either of these cards Foolish Burial in addition to summoning a monster directly from your extra deck. Now, it wouldn't be a proper Elemental Hero list without the inclusion of Shadows, who surprisingly enough will be taking advantage of his second effect to destroy spells and traps up to the number of other hero monsters you control. And yes, that effect exists even though it isn't used that often. But in Trinity, you'll likely encounter a little bit more back row to control the pace of the game, so you'll find that being in both searchable and recurable, Shadows can be a more consistent form of spot removal. And yeah, I guess this first effect to search is nice too. Next up, we have the more technical play starter in the form of Solid Soldier, who turns just about any hero in your hand into an extender, and while it does chew a bit into the sum limit for your turn, you'll find that being able to branch either into an XC play or Link play can really make the difference in a game. For a more conditional other extender, we have Elemental or Bubble Man, who, provided you have no other cards in hand, can just be a free body on board. And with him being a water attribute, you're able to go into Sunriser provided you have pretty much any other hero. Next, we have the inclusion of Clayman, Burstinatrix, and Neos, who, while provided they are unbound, aren't cards you want to see in your opener, but strictly from being in the deck, they enable some really cool combos, which we'll get into when discussing the extra deck later. Next up, we have our trio of Destiny heroes, starting with Decider, who is pretty good recovery, but only for one time, and our Fusion Destiny targets in the form of Drawhand and Celestial. And Celestial will be your primary Fusion Destiny send, provided you're sending for Dangerous. This is mainly because Drawhand is usually sent during your opponent's turn by using Dangerous's Foolish effect, which then allows Drawhand to be summoned on your standby phase, meaning that if you do decide to resolve the draw effect, it won't be as punishing for you unless your opponent, of course, draws into a hand trap. As an additional form of recovery, we're on Vision Hero Gravito because Miracle Fusion will be used pretty often in this deck and you want to recur back your banished heroes. Next up, we have Omni Dragon Bertar, who, while native to most dragon decks, is able to search out Keeper of Dragon Magic. We have a small Noble Knights package starting with Infernoble Knight Roland, who can act as a pseudo battle trick for 500 attack, but ideally you just want a way to get him into the graveyard so that during the end phase you can search out any equip spell directly from your deck to your hand, or a Fire Warrior. Our main targets for equip spells will primarily be Premature Burial, which is unlimited here, and Favorite Hero, which are usually going to equip to the next fusion monster you summon, granting it bonus attack equal to its original defense, targeting immunity, and the ability to make a second attack provided there is a field spell, which of course it enables at the start of the battle phase, allowing you to place any one field spell directly from your hand or deck into play. For that target, we're on Fusion Recycling Plant, which will recur back any one material used for a fusion summon that wasn't of course Miracle Fusion during the end phase of the turn, and of course you can use it to add back a polymerization from your deck or graveyard to your hand. A single copy of Durandal, which can be used to search out Roland, or be equipped to an opponent's monster going second to search out Blazeman. And lastly, in the Noble Knights package is a single copy of Heritage of the Chalice, which can be used to search out Roland or Durandal directly from the deck, or just add them back from the graveyard if we've already used them. A single copy of Neospatian Grandma, which can be summoned directly from your deck by using Fusion Deployment. Ash Veiler and Ogre, just to be really effective and easy to use hand traps, with Veiler and Ghost Ogre doubling as a Miracle Fusion target for Elemental Hero The Shining. We have Foolish Burial, E-Emergency Call, 2 copies of Reinforcement of the Army, with the second being a Trinity because, well, it searches pretty much every card in our deck. We have a co-player split between Monster Reborn and Change of Heart, a Trinity on Pot of Greed, another Trinity on Miracle Fusion, 2 copies of the Unbound Polymerization, additional spell trap removal in the form of Night Beam, Cosmic Cyclone, Galaxy Cyclone, and Twin Twister. A little bit more of extra niche recovery in the form of Legacy of a Hero, which, as you'll notice, most of the extra deck Fusion Hero monsters can't be summoned back from the graveyard, since they strictly have to be Fusion summoned. So by returning them back to the extra deck, you're able to summon them back again and draw 3 cards. 2 copies of the Unbound Super Team Buddy Force Unite, a single copy of Armory Call just to add a little bit more consistency to finding our equip spells, a single copy of Back to the Front, Jar of Avarice, and a single copy of Solemn Scolding because we don't rely that much on back row. And finally, moving on to the extra deck, we'll start with the Extra Hero Infernal Devicer. This card on summon allows you to reveal any one hero fusion in your extra deck and add up to 2 materials specifically listed on its recipe directly from your deck to hand. It's for this reason that we play Electrum, who you usually won't ever summon in a game, and Nebula Neos. Now, while adding vanilla heroes to your hand might be pretty nostalgic, they incur quite the advantage that can be converted into pretty powerful setups by using polymerization. For example, these combinations allow you to make Elemental Hero Core, Vision Hero Trinity, and of course Sunrise, meaning Blazeman and Vion even during the mid-game can just threaten lethal from searching polymerization and being used as link material to make Devicer. The neat thing about Core in this build is that he can be made with any 3 elemental heroes in your graveyard by using Miracle Fusion, and provided you never banish any fusion monsters from your graveyard, you can get around their summoning restriction by reviving them, ignoring their summoning conditions, using Elemental Hero Core's Float effect, which triggers when he's destroyed by battle or card effect, which in fringe cases you can enable yourself by using his own effect during the end of a battle phase. Next up, we have Destiny Hero Dystopia to get some cheeky burn-in addition to making some use of Roland and Favorite Hero to make his pop effect live. Elemental Hero The Shining, which is another way to recur some banished materials by way of Miracle Fusion and just makes a really good beat stack into mid-late games. And Elemental Hero Grand Merge, who will usually be making with Miracle Fusion by combining Neos and Clayman to reach 3k attack and swing about just about everything in the format, then tag out into Elemental Hero Nebula Neos to draw cards equal to the number of cards our opponent controls and negate any monster on the field, including himself. And by doing that, we can get around his end phase ability, which shuffles himself back and save it for our opponent's end phase. Or we can just negate a problematic monster effect and take the draw. Being a fusion that uses Neos as well means that his ability to shuffle himself back can be prevented by banishing Neos Fusion in the graveyard instead, though judging if he needs to be returned or not depends on if you value his ability to banish every card on the field face down when leaving. Next up, we have Tornado Dragon to clear back row, Castell to answer problematic monsters when we don't have Poly, Exodus Knight to sack our opponents, and Nightmare Phoenix to clear more back row. And that just about wraps up the extra deck and main deck showcase, so without further ado, let's just get right into the action.